just realized women really don't need men, like, at all. Life would be so much better if men didn't exist. The only reason we really need them is to have babies, right? Well, and I guess we also need them to do all those hard jobs we don't want to do, like oil rigging, plumbing, building all our roads and infrastructure, like all those jobs, we don't want to do that. But really, we don't need them. And I guess it is nice to have a husband, like a soulmate, someone that really loves us. It's nice to have someone to spoil you, pay for everything, buy us flowers, someone that really loves us and like supports us emotionally, physically, validates us, protects us, supports us financially. But that's about it. Honestly, we really, really don't need men, do we?
I'm gonna be a bitch for a sec. I work full time, I go to school full time, I show up for my mom, I show up for my 3 best friends, I show up for my sister who's in prison, mind you. My brother passed away last year, my brother and my dog in the same week. I got a puppy February of this year, went through a major abdominal surgery February of this year. I'm on hormone therapy. Throughout all of that, I've maintained a 4.0. I'm a part of an honor society. I got a degree. I'm getting another degree. And guess what I have? A boyfriend that I still show up for, that I still make feel special. Okay? So your man has no fucking excuse. There are women who are doing everything that I'm fucking doing and that are mothers on top of it and still show up for their fucking husbands. Men have no excuse why they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing. Everybody has a fucking job. You don't get to use that as an excuse why you don't show up for people. Get it together. Learn how to emotionally regulate yourself and be a fucking man. Sack up. Because women out here got some big fucking balls. Big ones. They're getting a little larger than yours.
Super random, but the other day I was watching a video on 2 coaches, they're husband and wife, and they teach a lot about masculine and feminine, a lot about intimate relationships. They're very open and vulnerable of the dips they've been through, the challenges they've been through, how they've gotten out, the challenges they still face today. And something that they both were talking about, which I really do have to agree that I thought was a super important thing to bring up, and I would love to know your guys' opinions. But these days, a lot of women are making their own money. They're providing, they're doing the work, they're emotionally intelligent, they're really like spreading their wings, and we don't need men how we used to need men. Back in the day, women could not even apply for a credit card or a house loan without having their husband. They weren't earning their own money. They were in the traditional roles of staying at home, taking care of the kids, and the men provided everything, and that was the kind of dynamic. But times have shifted. It's 2026, and things are very, very different these days. The one thing, I'd love to know your guys' opinion on this, but the one main thing that women are really craving and wanting more of is emotional safety. It's the one thing that really helps us soften, drop into our feminine energy, into our feminine essence, to feel safe, to expand, to grow. I could talk about this for hours, but I really was taken back by that comment because I've just never heard it being discussed like that. I think it's very true. We don't need men like we used to need them. However, that is the one thing that we're all craving and wanting from our partnerships, or just the men in our life, is emotional safety. So what's your thoughts? Let me know in the comments.
For years, we were told men are obsolete, unnecessary, replaceable, a biological inconvenience that modern women had simply outgrown. Great, fantastic. Men heard that loud and clear, took it personally, processed their emotions, went to therapy like they were told to, and then quietly stopped showing up. And now somehow that is also a problem. Incredible, truly incredible. Let's get into it.
Saw a video of a woman saying that women need to stop saying that there are no good men out there, because it just makes the patriarchy win, because then women will settle for less than they deserve because there are no good options, and that means that we have to fix them, save them, train them, make them better, whatever. Like, no man is just going to be a good man. To that I say, I think women are just realizing that we don't need to be with a man at all if most of them suck. Trying to wade through all the bad ones to find a good one is exhausting. And women are realizing that they actually just don't even need a man at all to be fulfilled in their life. Women have been told forever that we need to get married and have kids to find fulfillment in life. And I can tell you right now, some of the happiest women I know are either unmarried, child-free, or both. I do believe that there are good men out there. I know there are because I found one. He's amazing. But I think that right now women are realizing that we need to build a beautiful life that fulfills us and makes us happy without a man being a part of the equation at all. Once we have that, we can add a man in, and if he continues to add value to our life, continues to make us happier, continues to make us feel more safe and secure and free in our expression, amazing. But I don't think that holding men accountable for their actions and saying that men suck is going to make women settle for less. I think it's making us realize that maybe we just don't need them at all, and we can hold out until we really do find a good one instead of dealing with all the bullshit.
So I just moved to a room with so much more space and I'm loving it. And I just bought this dresser and I had to assemble it all by myself. It took me 5 hours. I was up until 1 a.m. last night. I was like crashing out. I never want to see a screwdriver again in my life. And I was like working on it and I was like, a man should be doing this. A man should be doing this. But then when I finished it, I was like, fuck that. I did that. Like, I did that shit. I don't need a man. So I'm feeling like super female empowerment and like boss bitch energy, because men are obsolete. So that's what I'm always telling you ladies, like when it comes to men, just pick the one you have the most fun with, who treats you right, and who can lay good pipe. Everything else, it's just, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. The whole like marrying for money, marrying to social climb, like ew, so outdated, so 1950s Stepford Wives energy. Like you don't need that, because we live in a time where women can do literally whatever the hell and you bitches still want to be trad wives, okay? Because if you are that girl, there is nothing that a man can do for you that you can't just do for yourself. Like if you are that girl, and if you're not, step your pussy up. Step your fucking pussy up.
Let the record reflect what was actually said. Men are obsolete. The future is female. Masculinity is toxic. Male provision is control. These weren't fringe positions. They were mainstream cultural products distributed through the most powerful media apparatus in human history. Men received the message. Men filed the paperwork.
When men say I belong in the kitchen, yeah, I do. Do you know how much I would give to just stay here all day, make the kitchen great again? Imagine, welcome home, honey, here's some muffins. What would you like for dinner tonight? I was actually thinking a ribeye with some mashed potatoes and broccoli, and then maybe I can bake you some cookies afterwards. How's that sound? We gave up that for what? So we can get credit cards?
Being a woman with traditional values in 2025 means just saying things like, hey, I think men and women are different. You know, I think that the end goal of relationships should be marriage. Like, that's not even a normal thought process or normal things to say anymore. All of a sudden you're trad. Or you post a video that's like, cooking for my husband because I love him. Like, what is the baseline anymore? Where's the bar? Are you just trad because you're a good wife and you say things like, hey, my husband is the head of the household? That used to just be a normal wife.
You think it's problematic that women say, I hate men? Watch this video. Remember this thing called COVID? Yeah, it had a fatality rate of about 3% before the vaccine came out. And despite that number being very low, we were very careful. We were very cautious because collectively as a people, no one wanted to get it because we recognize 3% is still terrifying. It's the same as like if you put out a bag of Skittles, right? And there's 100 and you know that 3 of them are poisonous. Are you going to take the chance and pick a Skittle and eat it? Probably not. Just the same way that, yeah, your chances of being a person and going out and getting COVID and dying from it were quite low, but you still avoided it and took precautions because of course, you want to protect yourself. It's the exact same thing with men. You recognize it's not all men, but it's enough men to the point where we have to be cautious. Sometimes the people who will hurt you are your family. They're your friends. They are cousins. They are people that you've known your entire life. So even if you think you know them, you don't quite know them. You never know which ones of the Skittles are going to turn out to be poisonous. Just like you don't know if you're going to get COVID one day when you go out without a mask. It's not about you. It's about self-preservation. It's about protecting ourselves.
The men who withdrew were doing exactly what they were asked to do. They dismantled the provider identity, and they stepped back from the protector role. They complied thoroughly, completely, more thoroughly than anyone anticipated, and what they got in return was a new set of criticisms that simply updated the indictment without changing the verdict.
I can have the babies. I can raise the babies. I can cook a home-cooked meal every single night. I can wash the laundry, fold it, and hang it up. I can make sure the house is spotless. I can do all the grocery shopping. I can buy all the essentials for the house. I can make sure everyone has what they need. I can get up early and pack my husband's lunch for work. I can drop the kids off at school and pick the kids up. I can drive them to every sports practice and every game. I can do all the things of a traditional wife. But once I become a traditional wife, Here's a list of the things that I am not going to do. Work a job, pay a bill, pay for groceries, pay for essentials, put gas in my car, take my own car for an oil change, take out the trash, fix anything around the house, touch anything outside of the house. If my place is to be in the house, then in the house is where I am going to be. See, the problem with men these days is they always say things like, no one's a traditional wife anymore, because y'all aren't traditional husbands anymore. You're not the only one that works. You're not the only one that pays all the bills. You're not the only one who does all the things that traditional men back in the good old days used to do. So, baby, if I'm sharing the bills, I'm sharing the load. Y'all have a good day.
All I want to know is when, as a society, we decided that guys aren't going to pay for girls on their first date.
All right, let me go on one last 50-50 rant before this app, ceases into existence and we all, never speak to each other again. So this girl goes on a little tangent saying, like, when did we all decide that, men aren't going to pay for women on dates anymore? And to that, I would say that overwhelmingly right now, men still pay for women on dates. I would say 75 to 80% of the time, most men are going to be paying on the first date with a woman. But I will admit that right now it is probably less than 20 years ago. And then we have to ask each other, why is that happening? And I think this is like what doesn't, occur in a girl's brain. As we all know, the average income in the United States has stayed exactly the same as it did 30 years ago, but everything else has gotten very expensive. So since rules have changed, it is obvious that rules are going to change in other aspects, when dating and work and all of these different things, because rules have changed. The amount of money that's needed to get by in America is a lot higher. Now, listen, I understand if you're a woman and you have this standard that you're like, oh, I need a man to pay, I'm not accepting anything less. Completely get that, but you have to understand that's a standard you're setting for yourself.
The reason that women get so upset when a man is unwilling to pay for their dinner when the man asks them on a date is because we quite literally constantly pay for our own friends' dinners. And you're telling me that you invited me on a date and you can't pay for it? Let me give you examples. So literally, I never worry about splitting the bill with a good friend. Like, I just don't do that, right? So I have a couple of friends that are between jobs right now. There is no bone in my body that would ever ask them to split the bill for a fucking plate of pasta or a plate of enchiladas. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that to me is so disgusting. It's like, why am I even going outside if I cannot pay for my friend's plate of pasta? So that's, I think, really what makes us so offended as women, that you want to split. It's like, we treat our own friends better than that. Literally, even if I was in a bit of a bind, I would so much rather make sure my friends are good and not worry about the bill. And they're the same way back with me. Like, there's no one in my friend group that ever splits money over an Uber, worries about who got the last round of drinks. Like, someone just fucking does it. And I understand I come from a place of privilege, but bros, I can guarantee all women, no matter how much they're earning, are treating their female friends so much better than you are if you for a second hesitate over paying for her fucking dinner. It's giving pathetic and stingy, and that's the least favorite quality that we all have in men. Take her to somewhere that you can afford if you're worried about the price, okay? Just go somewhere in your price range, but don't you ever ask her to split the bill. That is so freaking offensive, because she would never do that to you.
Equal means equal. Men started applying the principle symmetrically, the exact principle women had been advocating for decades. Turns out the symmetrical application of an asymmetric principle is extraordinarily disruptive to the system that relied on the asymmetry. Who could have predicted this?
An old man literally just stopped me and said, I don't mean to be rude, but you are absolutely gorgeous. And I looked at him and I was like, and I just turned around and and then I'm thinking, is this just me deeping it too much? Is he actually just trying to be nice? And then I'm thinking, wait, no, that's me, my people-pleasing brain switching on and trying to excuse the fact that he just outwardly said that I'm absolutely gorgeous, which is just so unnecessary.
Some women you're not going to please. The reason that gentlemen stop being gentlemen is because of videos like this. Because it's a very nice thing to do. And I'm sure this guy was extremely polite. He's an older guy. And you know what? He's from a different generation. He's from a generation where you could compliment a woman and they would appreciate that compliment, say thank you politely, and go about their day. He's not used to these modern women.
If a woman is equally capable of handling any situation a man can, and insisting on that equality is non-negotiable, then male intervention is, by the framework's own definitions, patronizing. Men who internalize the doctrine are applying it consistently. And the downstream consequences are only beginning to show.
Okay, you guys are all just really misogynistic.
How do you define misogyny? I'm just asking how you define misogyny.
Can I go?
Are you okay? Like, you want to go as in leave?
Can I please go home?
Yeah, no, look, if you want to leave, you can leave. I was hoping we could continue having a conversation, but...
Watch the affect. The confident, declarative tone of the empowerment era is gone. What replaced it is something considerably rawer. This is what the collision between an ideology and the weight of lived experience actually looks like. The story she told herself about her life has stopped being sufficient to live inside.
Look, I have a kid. I used to be like that until I had my kid. Now that I have my kid, like, I might be this, oh, I'm a boss bitch, da, da, da. But deep down in my heart, I would do absolutely anything to be at home and be, like, always with my child.
There you go.
But unfortunately,
and have a man protecting you. Stop acting like, stop leaving out the man part. Right. Because for you to be home with your child, that means you got a man holding you down, protecting you.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, he's right. And that shit's hard. Like, but unfortunately, since I'm by myself, I gotta hustle, you know? Yeah. But I would do anything to have a man like that.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly that's God bless you. God bless you. God bless you for telling the fucking truth.
The data is not comfortable. The women who most thoroughly internalize the feminist framework's prescriptions are, by self-reported measures of happiness and meaning, among the least content demographics in the Western world. This is not what was promised. The promise was liberation. The delivery is something else entirely.
Y'all, the days of feminism being about equality are over. Okay, it's spiritual warfare disguised as empowerment. Let's talk about it. And guess what happened? When you remove God's order, chaos enters the home. We were promised freedom, but instead got rebellion. And the Jezebel spirit is alive and amongst us today. It has taught women to lie, manipulate, seduce men, use your power and control. Instead, it has taught women to emasculate men, to weaponize men's emotions against them, play the victim, and then turn around and call it power. And trust me when I say I'm all about making money. I'm very independent, but also traditional. And feminism has taught us that being a homemaker is oppressive, but yet being a slave, being a boss babe to a corporation is somehow freedom. Like, make it make sense. It's turned marriage into more of a burden instead of a blessing. And it's really actually crapped on the idea of what biblical masculinity is intended to be and what it should be. Feminism told us we would have careers, have freedom, independence, sex. Meanwhile, we would lose the most important things: family, peace, order, and purpose. And never forget, Jesus is King. Have a great day.
The most psychologically destabilizing development is not the withdrawal of provision or protection, it's the withdrawal of attention. Male attention was treated for a generation as an imposition to be managed or a harassment risk to be legislated. Men redirected it toward their own lives. The silence it left behind is apparently deafening.
Men don't care about your personality. They don't care about your dreams, your goals, what you want to achieve in life, your likes, your dislikes. They don't care about these things. Men do not care about you as a person. They care about what you can offer them. They care about if there's something in it for them. That's why men usually don't do things unless they're going to get something out of it. So if a man is going out of his way, doing a lot of things, and you're like, oh my God, he's doing all these grand gestures, he wants something. He's doing it to get something out of you. Men don't do things just because they're kind human beings. If a man's doing something, he wants something out of you. He wants access to you. He wants access to you. That's why a lot of men love bomb in the beginning stages, because it's a manipulation tactic that is used to make you feel closer than you actually are. The more closer you feel to the man, the more he knows he's going to have access to you. The more he's going to get what he wants. That's why you have to be switched on. You have to be switched on. You have to be on the lookout for these things.
The approval withdrawal is the companion phenomenon. For decades, male behavior was substantially regulated by the desire for female approval. The men who've undergone the recalibration have severed that connection. They dress, speak, and pursue according to standards they chose, not standards designed to make male behavior convenient for female consumption.
You want to know why guys are opting out of society? Why are guys leaving? Why are guys lonely? Why is 63% of guys single and 34% of women are not attached? Let's just say. Well, clearly it's because those women are going for older guys, but why are those guys single? Why are they dropping out? There's the expectations of women, there's all that, but there's a second set of rules that women are playing by that those guys are not. And men are just now becoming aware, certainly within the last 10, 20 years, are becoming aware of that second set of rules increasingly. Now,
oh my God, is that what it is? They're going through withdrawal. So to the privileged, equality feels like oppression. But somebody that's more decorated in psychology, could you go ahead and let us know, would this mimic that behavior, withdrawal symptoms? Withdrawal from literal privilege. I think this is the nail on the head right here.
This is not just a dating market phenomenon. The withdrawal of male engagement extends to the educational institutions redesigned around their elimination, the corporate structures that implemented their systematic disadvantage, and the civic frameworks that treated their interests as inherently suspect. The dating market is just the most visible surface of something running much deeper.
Yes, I'm a trad wife, and I have trad wife duties. We're going to the grocery store, and I'm taking you guys with me because I don't want to go alone. It's finally warming up outside, and I couldn't be happier. I'm ready to get my life together and start living again. Let's go. Okay, that wind's a bit cold. That's me too soon. I was a little too eager. I'm just ready for summer. I got a defective cart. Kind of good. It's working out my muscles to keep it straight. That's the trad wife life. I'm gonna go home and unload this and then get ready to make dinner. We're having chuck roast tonight with mashed potatoes and asparagus with sourdough bread.
I quit my job. I did. I was working full-time at a doctor's office and I had to quit my job because I'm taken away from my kids. And it's not fair. And we as parents have to make sacrifices. So currently, I'm a stay-at-home mom looking for a part-time job because I gotta work. It's just not fair for our kids to have to suffer and have to miss out on things because we have to work. So I sacrificed my job for my kids. My last day at work was August 15th, so a week or two ago. So I've been at home for a little while. So I'm kind of in a groove of things, but now we're just filming TikToks until I find a part-time job. Let's go see what all I get done today. Right now I'm at Dollar General. I need to get some things to clean the car because we also just purchased a family car. So I want to get some things to clean the car. We're going to go to the car wash. I'm going to go ahead and pick up some things that I don't have at home for dinner tonight. And then we're just going to see where the day takes us. And I'm going to bring you guys along with me.
There are women who saw this coming and made a different calculation, who chose partnership and reciprocity over ideology at considerable social cost. Those women are not falling apart. They're not producing crisis content. They're living quietly, purposefully, and with a quality of satisfaction that the ideological project promised and failed to deliver.
Men are always saying things like, who's going to protect you if you don't need a man? And I want to share a story about this very thing. It was a few years ago, and we were supposed to go ice skating with a friend of mine, a man, and we ended up getting hot chocolate. And as we were waiting on the line, from the corner of my eye, I caught that a woman was talking to a man, but it was a very odd interaction. And she looked uncomfortable with him talking to her. He kept inching in closer to her. She kept kind of backing away and looking around at people. I think she was trying to catch someone's eye so that they could help her. So we actually made eye contact at some point, and I could tell she didn't want to keep talking to him. So I turned to my friend and I told him, hey, I think that woman is uncomfortable with that guy talking to her. Should we go up to her and kind of strike up conversation and see if he leaves? And he said no. He said that we shouldn't get involved. So I kept watching just in case. And the guy turned around for a few seconds and she booked it. She left the line and he turned around and he was looking for her. And I was right. And I turned to my friend and I said, I was right. He was making her uncomfortable. And honestly, we should have done something. All this to say that men don't actually want to help women when there is a real threat to them. And they will not help just any woman. They will help women that they own, that are theirs. And not even that sometimes, because I have another story about this same man. We're not friends anymore because quite a few times he showed me that he was hyping himself up as this macho guy, as this defender of women. And when opportunities arose for him to prove that he did feel that way, that he was actually that person, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I made a video talking about how I don't understand why men complain about women who want provider men when they could just go for women who are down for 50-50, because there's so many of them. And a lot of the comments were saying the reason we're mad is because women want a provider man, but then they don't want to complete their traditional roles. Like, sort of like what do they bring to the table then if they just don't want to do the traditional part? I guess maybe I was in a little bit of a bubble, because in my head, if a woman wants a traditional man, then she herself is traditional, because that's how I am, that's how my friends are. I can admit, maybe I wasn't looking at it holistically and thinking about the other perspectives that if what these guys are saying is true, then unfortunately I agree. If women are going to expect a man to provide for them, they are going to expect that traditional role from a man. Unfortunately, you do have to fulfill the traditional role as a woman. Sure, there will be guys that don't care. Sure, there will be guys that don't mind if you work, but you don't need to work, but they don't mind if you do. But most will probably not be okay with that. And I agree with this. You can be financially independent and still want a provider man. But let's talk about what that looks like. Does that mean your man is 100% providing for you, yet you have a job that's making a good amount and you're only hoarding that for yourself? What's the point of a marriage then? On the flip side, if you are financially independent, you work, your man works, he's providing for you, and you guys pool together your resources, then that's not really him providing for you. You're pooling your resources. So it's like as close to 50-50 as it gets, even if like the amount that you guys are contributing is different. It's no longer like a traditional setup, but is a little contradicting to want a provider man, a traditional man, without being traditional yourself. Most provider men are going to expect those roles to be fulfilled at home. They're going to expect their home taken care of. They're going to expect their kids taken care of. They're going to expect cooking, cleaning, like the classic stuff. Unless you happen to be one of the few women that goes for the super elite rich men who like don't want your money whatsoever and can afford all the extra help.
So the same women who said men are unnecessary are now falling apart because men took the hint. You told us to leave. We left. You have the audacity to be upset about the vacancy. Rent the cat section on Amazon. It's heavily stocked. Build your life, gentlemen. The irony will handle itself.
Thanks for watching Male Imperium. Please show us your love by subscribing to the channel using the bell icon. We're also up for debate and some healthy banter, so don't forget to comment under the video.